Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've genuinely been fighting the urge to start this video by saying I told you so. Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. And in today's video, I've got something I really want to say, okay? So, if you haven't heard already, which I'd be surprised if you haven't, DrApeis, someone I've made a lot of videos on. DrApeis, the guy that was developing the game that's supposed to take down Yandere Simulator. The Yandere Simulator in 2 weeks, what was originally called LoveSick, the big game project that everyone was excited for, that I spoke about, that people like Ghost of Grievous spoke about, Choco Nanakins, TheGameSleuth, all of us spoke about, has been cancelled. And if you don't know, I made 2 videos predicting this cancellation. So, I told you so. But, let's go back to what actually happened here. So a lot of you may be wondering, what actually happened? LoveLetter seemed like it was doing well from an outsider's perspective, and I have no idea what's going on, right? That must be what some of you are saying, at least, if you weren't involved in the drama or didn't spectate the drama. However, I'll make it very clear for you. DrApeis said and did a lot of terrible things in the months that followed the release of LoveLetter's first trailer. This trailer dropped, and from then, it became an onslaught against DrApeis, because DrApeis marketed himself as the equivalent of the downfall to Yandere Simulator, the LoveLetter made in 2 weeks, the Yandere Simulator made in 2 weeks. And because of that, he set himself up to fail. When you build such a high expectation from a developer that's never produced a game before, and the only other game they've attempted to make failed, you're bound to fail. So let's look at it from a drama perspective over a game development's perspective. What happened drama-wise? DrApeis had a lot of screenshots leaked about him. He was using artists' art after they requested it be removed from the game. He'd lied to a lot of creators about his identity actually being Nobles' Falling, which was the ex-developer that produced an old game that failed about Yandere Simulator. He was revealed when he got doxxed to be that person. And with that, a lot of things also came out about him, including proof that he'd allegedly groomed a 10-year-old, which was pretty shocking. I was going to make a video on that, but I just couldn't bring myself to. And a lot of other evidence against him, including showing that he was sending people to go dislike spam a video made by Cameron, showing him to be constantly slandering yanderedev, lying about a lot of stuff, taking messages from yanderedev out of context, lying to YouTubers in particular, including me. And overall, he was just doing some very terrible things that he shouldn't have been doing. DrApeis had messed up, got into a lot of drama immediately, and ended up hook, line, and sinker straight in a pit of failure. And that is honestly how I predicted the fact that he'd fail. I looked at the Bochan Feelings Twitter, where they were coming out of a bunch of people's witness stories about how he'd kept Zayd on the team amidst sexual assault allegations. He'd refused to remove artists' work from the game after they'd requested it be removed. Several artists, this is, wouldn't remove voice lines from voice actors that had requested it be removed. Kept people on the team that had done things that were pretty disgusting, allegedly, without doing any looks into it himself. Lied to his staff and got his staff to lie for him to defend his actions. And honestly, that's just the beginning of it. There's so much more that he did that I can't even cover in a video, because a lot of it would just get this video taken straight off of YouTube. So, for that reason, I'd recommend you just look at the Bochan Feelings Twitter. Look at the thread about how the person was 10 years old when DrApeis allegedly groomed them. Just look at it all and you'll realise. But DrApeis made a video where he said his reasons why he was quitting. And I want to go over that point by point, listen to it, and hear him out. So, let's get to it. This is the video DrApeis released. It's called The Cancellation of LoveLetter, and its subtitle is, "If making this game destroys my life and the others working on the project, then I don't want to develop it anymore. My mental health is worth more to me than a game. No, I'm not using it as an excuse, as some are saying, it's the truth. Deal with it. Thank you for following the development and ending of LoveLetter. We're going to move on to bigger and better things, so stay around for eventual updates. Thank you." And he leaves timestamps, comments are turned off, like the dislike ratio is on.
Hello everyone. Welcome to a disappointing video that I know most of you didn't want to see.
As you can see, the game shows a lot of promise here. You've got working windows, working doors, working animations, working movement cycles, a good custom model, custom HUD. It all looks very promising, so it is sad to say that this game is being cancelled, because he's done a lot of good work with it.
This will be a video explaining the development of LoveLetter and why it's now come to a halt. If you don't wish to watch the full video, there will be timestamps of each significant point in the description. Now, without further ado, let's get started.
Before he begins, I want to point out how official and really good quality this actually genuinely is. He's got implemented menus, implemented benches, animations, cutscenes, stuff like that. You can see where he wants stuff with these placeholders. He's got his time set up. He's got his money set up because I'm guessing he's got the street. This is very well implemented for now. And I really, honestly, do want him to continue to try and make this game. Whether he doesn't make videos about it or he does. Because it shows a lot of promise. And it's sad to see that a developer that has so much promise like this is dropping their project just because of drama.
Releasing the first iteration of LoveLetter, LoveSick, on YouTube was a pretty great feeling at first. I, nor any of my friends, thought that it would get as popular as it did. Honestly, it's super surprising that I've ended up like this. Looking back on it now, I cringe at how toxic I was being. I remember asking the entire server to repost the trailer to LoveSick since Cleveland Rock took down the original. That just isn't how I want a fan base to work.
So, he mentions here that a lot of the things he did in the past were quite toxic, and I fully agree that they were quite toxic, and I appreciate that he's addressing it. The sad part is that even later in the span of his actions, even very recently, he was doing quite toxic things. So it seems kind of pitiful that he's using this as an excuse to hopefully get some of the drama off his back.
Now that I think about it, a fan base should support the game from the sidelines.
Yeah, you're correct. That is how you're supposed to run a fan base. You overindulged and got your fans too involved in a hate mob. You turned what were your fans into an army against yanderedev, backing you because they believe you could defeat yanderedev.
Most of all the drama is petty and childish. Some of the drama also had no context or explanation behind it, and was very one-sided. I've never bothered to comment on most of it, because if I do, then I'll just be spammed with K-pop gifs or told to harm myself, for example. Then came the doxing part of development, where I and a few volunteers of the game had been doxed. In my opinion, doxing is wrong, and it's really invasive of privacy, not to mention toxic as hell. Due to the impact of COVID-19, people were forced to stay inside their homes, which caused a lot of the regular toxic people who browse the internet every day to become more active. Thankfully, my current address, state, and a lot of other things were wrong in my docs, but unfortunately that wasn't the case for others who were doxed. Their information, all of it, had been reposted online and exposed for the world to see. And honestly, it upsets me greatly to have them go through that when they're some of the nicest people I've met. Granted, not all of the people who were doxxed are saints, but that does not excuse the act of doxing. Working on LoveLetter from the start until now, a lot has changed with me personally. Thanks to all of the harassment I've been getting, the constant comparisons between Yandere Simulator and LoveLetter, and other things have caused me to become stressed and really, really sad.
Mentions constant harassment here. He claims that he's getting constant harassment, ignoring the fact that he's also drove a lot of constant harassment to yanderedev, and he also uses it as a excuse. He claims that people were saying that his game was made in 2 weeks, and was using that as an argument to make it a rival to Yandere Simulator. When he used Yandere Simulator's assets, he marketed himself that way, otherwise people wouldn't have picked it up that way. If he'd have done it like Sarah's School Life, where he said it was just a fan creation similar to it, or just a Yandere Simulator on its own, he would have been fine. If he never indulged in the drama, he would have been fine. He chose to indulge in the drama, and he took the fall from it. That's his responsibility.
I was running on pure motivation, a clear mind of what the game would look like and turn out to be, but since around a month and a half ago, all of that has vanished. Looking at Yandere Simulator now, working on LoveLetter, the Yandere Simulator community, they all make me feel gross and disgusted. I don't have the same love and care that I had for this project that I had a month ago. My mental health has been on a downhill drive, and it's caused me to really reflect on myself. And since I haven't been able to sleep due to my increased insomnia, I've been having negative thoughts and began to act on impulse to certain situations. This, all in itself, is the failure of LoveLetter.
That is not the failure of LoveLetter. Sadly, DrApeis still won't admit the real failure of LoveLetter, which is his own resolve, his own actions, and his own failures. It's nobody else, it's no toxicity, it's none of this, the community was making his game out to be something it wasn't. It was his fault. DrApeis made himself into this driving force, and DrApeis made himself into a bombshell that was set to go off anytime soon. He did that to himself, and he's never going to admit that, sadly, because this is where LoveLetter ends for him. I just wish that he'd make a video just actually addressing it. Just actually saying, yes, it was my fault. Or maybe in the future when he actually realizes it. Or if he sees this video and realizes it. I hope that he comments at least admitting to partial responsibility, because he doesn't in this video. He puts a lot of blame on the community and the toxicity in the community, while barely taking any responsibility himself. DrApeis, I hate to admit it because I've spoken to you and you didn't seem like a terrible person, okay? But you need to take responsibility for this. You can't blame other people for this. You caused your own problems, and you're putting blame on other people and then cancelling your game because of it. If you'd have just taken responsibility from the start and said your wrongs and admitted to them and said you were sorry for them, maybe you wouldn't be in this situation. You could have moved forward because people would have moved forward past it, but you didn't. Instead, you decided to blame the community for it and continue to be toxic all the way until the end. Anyway, that's it for DrApeis and this video. It seems sadly that this is where the video has ended. DrApeis has ended on a very poor note. He's made a poorly produced apology video and hasn't taken any responsibility. And it's really sad to see that that's the case where his career will end, because I believe that he had more of a chance to actually do something, but sadly he decided not to. DrApeis, I wish you good luck in the future, and with that, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more videos just like this one, but on other creators it seems, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace, dudes. Follow my Twitter and join my Discord down below, by the way. We've got 500 members, we're aiming for 600 now, and we're almost partnered. We're actually in the review process, so go check it out.
Says she wanna rock with a like me. I'm a stylish guy. Spend a little guap with a like me. We can catch a fly. Says she wanna rock with a like me.